Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 6th of September. Good to have you aboard. We are a Believe Network podcast, always brought to us by Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, slip and fall, motorcycle accident, boating accident, whatever it is, if you're dealing with a personal injury, I send you where you're going to get treated like family, just like they treated me like family when we were getting ready to start ZASLOW Show 2.0. First, you call 911, then you call Anidjar and Levine. Accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. We are one sleep away from the NFL. We're going to do plenty of NFL today. We're going to do plenty of Dolphins talk. We're going to have NFL Network studio host, the great MJ Acosta Ruiz is going to join us. So we'll do some NFL with her. We're going to have a lot of fun. Obviously, we'll get you prepared for all the fantasy football. That will be tomorrow. But we're going to do some Dolphins. We'll do a lot of NFL with our friend MJ. So she'll join us on the program today. Now on Wednesdays, you know we do good times, hard times during NFL season. We're in NFL season. When you're one sleep away, everybody knows you're in NFL season. So we got good times, hard times. We'll get to today. We'll tell everybody who's about to have good times this weekend and who's about to have hard times, daddy, this weekend. So, like I said, we got a fun show planned for everybody today. Glad to have you aboard. And yeah, let's get this thing going. So, last night, you got the Marlins, who won their 5th in a row. They're inexplicably hanging around in this wild card race. And I say inexplicably because they were 14 games over 500 at the All-Star break. They totally blew it. They fell a game or two below 500. They fell a game under because they won 5 in a row after last night. So they're now 71 and 67. You had essentially a gem pitch by Jesus Luzardo yesterday. And here's where outdueled Clayton Kershaw. I actually thought about going to the game. I'm kind of thinking about going to the game tonight also. Although my dog's not feeling well, that was a whole issue last night. Isn't that the worst? That's the when your dog's not feeling well. Because it isn't just that they're not feeling well. It's the most helpless thing because they can't tell you. I mean, maybe one day somebody invents that the neck collar from the movie Up. Pixar Up, great movie. Doug, he had the collar, and you can talk to him, and he talks back to you. I mean, wouldn't that be the most amazing invention? Anyway, that's the worst. Because your dog's not feeling well, but you don't know what the issue is. You don't know how to help them. That sucks. So I was dealing with that last night. That's the worst. So probably, I'm considering going to the Marlins today. But I'm dealing with that here at home. So I'm probably out for that. But the Marlins last night, bombs away at Lone Depot Park. 6-3 victory as they beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. So a 4-game sweep over Washington, which you had to do if you have any chance of getting back in this thing. Because the Marlins, it's 6 teams fighting for 3 spots. And then the Marlins, from top of the wild card at the All-Star break to being that 6th team and 3 games back of that final wild card spot. Well, now they've won 5 in a row. They're a half game back of the final spot. Now, they're not going to be able to catch number 1, which is Philadelphia. They're 5 back of them. Number 2 are the Cubs, who never lose anymore. The Marlins are 3.5 back of them. So really what it boils down to for the Marlins, the Marlins are one of 4 teams fighting for 1 playoff spot. That's really what it boils down to. And the Marlins are a half game back of the Reds here. So it's every day. You're looking at what you're doing, and the Marlins have the Dodgers again tonight after beating them last night, looking for 6 in a row. You're keeping an eye on what the Reds are doing. You're keeping an eye on what the Diamondbacks are doing. And the Giants are in a free fall now. They've lost 5 in a row. So that's what we got going on as far as the Marlins, as far as the baseball goes. And how about that? The Marlins held us over right into football. And better than that, look, we're in September. We're a week into September. The Marlins are a half game out of a playoff spot. They got us to September. And we have meaningful baseball games every single night. So excellent job by the Marlins, keeping us invested, getting back in it here at the start of September, and giving us something to root for. And by the way, while you can't fault Kim Ng, because while the David Robertson trade has not worked out, That was a good trade that has not worked out. You understand? There can be bad trades that work out, good trades that don't. This was a good trade that did not work out because he's been the pits. But Josh Bell, awesome again last night. Jake Berger, he has been fantastic. Kimming did a really nice job, and those two guys in particular have been excellent. Jazz Chisholm last night, we'll get to it. So anyway, the Marlins half game back after last night, looking for a 6th consecutive win as they have the Dodgers again tonight at Lone Depot Park. Now, as far as NFL goes, you know what? Let me mention something else real quick before I get to the NFL. So Pearl Jam started their tour a few days ago. It's a pretty limited tour. They're only playing like 6 cities. They're playing 2 shows in each city. Next week, 9 days away, I'm there next week. Fort Worth, Texas. I wish I could go to both shows. I'm going to the second show next Friday. If the shows were back-to-back days, it's like they're old. They can't play back-to-back days now. If the shows were back-to-back days, I would go to both shows. Like, I miss those days where I would follow around Pearl Jam for a week going to multiple shows. They don't do back-to-back shows anymore. So we're going next week to the second show. I'm in the place where not only are we all so excited about football is here, we're a few days away from the Dolphins, I'm now in that Pearl Jam mode also where, yeah, now I'm really excited. Now I'm thinking about it all day long. I'm watching the videos from the previous night. Last night, they were in Chicago. They're in Chicago again tomorrow. So this is going to be a really special show for me. I don't know if anybody cares, but it's ZASLOW Show 2.0, so you hang with me here. I don't know that anybody cares, but I'm going next week, which will be my 26th show. It's not a competition. It's my 26th show. And by the way, for people that's like, oh my God, ZASLOW, you've seen them so many times. Everyone else who goes to all these shows too, like everyone else in the 10 Club, because most of the building is 10 Club, they dominate me in the number of shows they've seen. Like, so many shows. Like I said, it's not a competition. But anyway, so I'm going to my 26th Pearl Jam show next week. My older son, Corey, will be his 3rd. My younger son, Jordan, 1st. So it's going to be a really, really special, and I think it's going to be a pretty emotional night for me because I've been going to see Pearl Jam since I was 16 years old. You know, Pearl Jam and the Miami Heat are like the loves of my life outside of my wife. And I'm going to see them now for the first time with my boys. I get emotional just thinking about it right now, you know? So I'm so excited about that. It's going to be a really emotional scene for me. But also, there's a really cool thing that is happening right now with these Pearl Jam shows, where I thought it was something cool that I'm doing when I'm taking my boys next week. But so many people are posting their pictures from these shows where, hey, this is my show number 30, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And my first with my son. And you know, you got a picture of the guy and his son, or, you know, the guy and his wife and his son, whatever. And I've noticed there are a lot of these out there. And a lot of fans are having this experience now out there, just like me. Because we're at this place now, you know, think about it. Pearl Jam debuted 30 years ago, all right? Right? 91, 92, 30 years ago. So you have so many of their fans, like let's say you were, you know, even if you were like 15 years old when they debuted, right? And so, all right, maybe, you know, you're kids now. You have kids at that age because you're like 45 then, let's say, if you were 15 when they debuted. Like for me, I'm 42, so it's around that age. And we're all at that age where we have kids now. And our kids are at that age where they could start being concert goers, which my older one certainly is, and my younger one is now starting to get to that age. And my older one, he wants to go see Travis Scott coming up next month or 2 months, whatever it is in Miami. And Drake is coming. My older son's way into all that. But anyway, loves Pearl Jam too. But I noticed there are so many people who are going to these Pearl Jam shows and are having the same experience that I am looking forward to having with my boys next week. And the band who has been, and look, it's really difficult to explain how, for people who aren't into Pearl Jam, it's really difficult to explain to people how important this band is to us and how meaningful they are to our lives. So I'm not going to try and do that here. But it's really special what this band is giving us now, because they've given us, this love for all of these years. And now, after seeing the band so many times, we're getting to experience this love through our children's eyes as we're going to the shows with them now. So we've gotten to experience Pearl Jam all of these years, and not that it's gotten stale, but it's a new experience now where we get to have this love with our children and it's like a brand new experience, even though we've seen the band so many times. So I hope the band notices that they've given us this great gift where we get to experience our love for them in a brand new way now. And there are young people, like remember, I had Billy Corgan on the show a couple weeks ago from Smashing Pumpkins, and he's the owner of the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. And he said one of the things that has kept him going after all these years is he said he doesn't know, maybe it's, YouTube clips, TikTok, what have you, but his band is getting noticed by a younger generation now, which is so cool. And he said it's something that keeps him interested. And I hope that Pearl Jam is noticing what is happening here, where we are getting to experience our love for the band in a brand new way now, where we get to bring our kids to the show. And, all of us have been playing Pearl Jam for our kids for years now, so we're not forcing them to these shows unless they actually like the band, and now they're seeing them for the first time. So it's a real gift that the band has given us, where we get to experience the band in a new way, and we get to make these beautiful memories with our kids who are now teenagers, So it's so wonderful. I'm so excited for it. I get emotional just thinking about it and talking about it right now. So anyway, we're all excited about the Dolphins. We're days away, and I'm also in that mode with Pearl Jam. We're days away. I do want to say something. All right, before we get to the Dolphins here, first up, real quick, guys, let me tell you about the only insurance agency I ever tell you guys about. And that's because I know my home is taken care of with the homeowners insurance I get through Brunt Insurance. Not only am I getting the best rate out there, I tell people who listeners of ZASLOW Show 2.0, they'll send me a message. I'll tell them around how much I'm paying for. They're like, whoa, I got to get a quote from Brunt Insurance because I'm paying so much more than that. I'm like, yes, you do. Go to bruntinsurance.com or you call them at 954-589-2204. And wherever you're calling from in the state of Florida, Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they know the area you're calling from. They have offices all throughout the state. So from Pensacola all the way down to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services, they're delivering comprehensive insurance coverage at the most affordable rate out there. There's so many options, it's going to make your head spin if you try and find the policy that's right for you on your own, you're going to get lost. Call Brunt Insurance at 954-589-2204. At Brunt, the agents, they specialize in finding the right policy. They're going to educate you on all the options out there, making sure you know the ins and outs of the policy of your choice. And not just homeowners insurance, you need renters insurance or you need condo insurance. There are so many options. Brunt Insurance makes all the confusing crystal clear. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. So, have you noticed? Now, the Dolphins are a talking point every single day on television. I love it. I don't care if people are doubting the Dolphins. I don't care if they're talking negative about the Dolphins. It's so much better than what we've had to deal with the past couple decades, where the only time the Dolphins get talked about is if something embarrassing happens. If it's Jonathan Martin, or it's Stephen Ross, Tom Brady stuff, or if it's Stephen Ross, Jim Harbaugh stuff, or if it's the offensive line coach snorting cocaine, he's got the grains, so disgusting. Ugh, grains. It's always something embarrassing. So I don't care if you got people doubting the Dolphins on television. I love that they're just talking about the Dolphins. I mean, he's talking about snorting cocaine off strippers' butts. Give me a break. Anyway, I love that they're talking about the Dolphins. But here's the thing, and I can't be the only one who's noticed this, right? Have you noticed that whenever anyone is talking about the Dolphins on television, and they talk about, this is what they think the Dolphins can be, this is what they expect from the Dolphins, there's always the caveat, as long as Tua stays healthy. And that's fine, except a couple things. You can literally say that about every single team. I hate the whole as long as so-and-so stays healthy. Any team, like my father-in-law was over the other day. Oh, do the Dolphins have a good backup? What if Tua gets hurt? I'm like, no. If the starting quarterback on any team gets hurt, that team is fucked. So the whole, if he gets hurt, or I'm sorry, as long as starting quarterback X stays healthy, they're going to be okay. We could say that about every single team and their starting quarterback. Any of these guys can get hurt at any moment. So I hate doing that. And here's the thing, the whole caveat as long as Tua stays healthy, why isn't that said about any other team? Forget that these players can get hurt all the time. We act like Tua is the only quarterback who has some type of injury history. Look at, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'll give you a few teams here who we expect big results from, and whose quarterbacks are either hurt right now or have major injury histories. Do we hear anyone, when they talk about expectations for the Cincinnati Bengals, do we talk about how Joe Burrow gets hurt? At the end of his first year, you had the situation with the knee. Joe Burrow's hurt right now. Got hurt the very first day of training camp. Do we ever hear expectations about the Bengals with the caveat of as long as Burrow stays healthy? No, we never hear that. How about we hear plenty of expectations of Baltimore Ravens, right? Lamar Jackson gets hurt every year. Matter of fact, it's one of the reasons that they were hesitant going into last year to give Lamar Jackson the big contract. So he bet on himself and then played out the year. And then what happened? Oh yeah, he got hurt like he always does. Do we ever hear analysts talk about expectations about the Ravens with the caveat, as long as Lamar Jackson stays healthy? No, we don't do that. How about the Dallas Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys are talked about all the time. Now, I don't think anyone's really picking the Cowboys to win the NFC, but I can tell you, the Niners are good, the Eagles are good, and I feel like the Cowboys are like that third team in the NFC that a lot of people think is next up. Does anyone say, with the caveat, as long as Dak stays healthy? Because he's always hurt, including last year. Cooper Rush got to play. Dak Prescott is always hurt. We never hear that caveat used with the Cowboys. How about the San Francisco 49ers? Most people think it's either them or the Eagles that are going to win the NFC, maybe even the Super Bowl. We don't have a real body of work with Brock Purdy, and the body of work we do have, guess what happened? He got hurt. But we don't hear the caveat of, I love the 49ers as long as Brock Purdy stays healthy. All these guys get hurt, but the Dolphins and Tua are the only team that they'll talk about on television or talk about on the radio, and we have to hear about as long as Tua stays healthy. Why? All these guys get hurt. Every player in the league gets hurt. And any team that loses their quarterback is fucked. But the only one we seem to point it out with is the Miami Dolphins. I'm not the only one who notices that, right? Strange. Anyway, you can always hit me up at ZASLOW Show. I love hearing from you guys. You can always hit me up, of course, on Instagram while I'm an influencer at ZASLOW, but I love being in touch with you guys. I also want to let you know, if you're in the market for a new car but you can't decide where to go, I sent you to the only car dealership I personally endorse. You know I'm talking about North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. You walk in the showroom doors, a member of their friendly sales team, they're going to help navigate you in the right direction immediately. No matter what car you're looking for, no matter how big, no matter what kind you're looking for, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru carries the widest inventory of newest Subaru models on the market. That includes the Forester, the Crosstrek, the Outback, the WRX, the Ascent. Whatever you're looking for, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru is sure to have the perfect model for you. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, also South Florida's newest and technologically advanced Subaru dealer. You could shop over 1,000 Subaru vehicles from your home right now. All you got to do is go to nflsubaru.com. So easy to remember, nflsubaru.com. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road, the building you know, and the place to go. nflsubaru.com. All right, it's Wednesday. You guys know what time it is, right? Let's get to good times and hard times. That's right, good times and hard times, Daddy, where we tell you what teams are going to experience, what teams' fan bases this weekend are going to experience good times, and which teams' fan bases this weekend are going to experience hard times, Daddy. That's right. Good times, hard times. Let's get to it. I got 3 for each side. I got 3 teams for you that are going to experience 3 fan bases this weekend that are going to experience good times. Number 3, the Washington Commanders. That's right. The Washington Commanders fans, they're going to experience good times this weekend. Number 1, just the fact that slumlord Daniel Snyder is out of here, that's good times as it is. So you got a fan base that's going to be rejuvenated, that's excited to get going with this season. They're going to try and start fresh, start anew. And guess what? They open up the schedule with a team that is outright openly tanking, the Arizona Cardinals. So if Washington fans didn't already feel good enough about being rid of the owner, they're also going to open this weekend with a win, and they're going to be feeling good times this weekend. Number 2, fan base that's also going to feel good times after this weekend's game. Green Bay Packer fans. That's right. Green Bay Packer fans are definitely going to have good times this weekend. Now, the NFC North, it kind of feels wide open, right? I mean, I think Minnesota's going to win that division, but the Packer fan is going to see a great performance out of Jordan Love this weekend. They're taking on the Chicago Bears, who we all know Aaron Rodgers owned for years. Well, the Packers are going to continue to own the Chicago Bears this weekend. And not only are the Packers going to get a win this weekend, they're going to do it against their rival, and you're going to get a great start to the Jordan Love era. Green Bay Packer fans are going to be feeling good times this weekend. And number 1, another fan base that's going to be feeling good times after week number 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base. Yep, the Steelers are hosting the San Francisco 49ers this week, who are a Super Bowl contender. The Pittsburgh Steelers, it's essentially the beginning of the Kenny Pickett era. He loves throwing to George Pickens. Kenny Pickett's going to come out slinging this weekend against probably a Nick Bosa-less San Francisco 49er team. I think Pittsburgh gets a great performance out of Pickett. They're going to have their quarterback of the future and an upset win this weekend over the San Francisco 49ers. So Washington Commander fans, Green Bay Packer fans, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans are going to be feeling good times after week 1 this Sunday. All right, so you got your 3 fan bases that are going to be having good times after this weekend's games. Just as important now, which fan bases are about to have hard times, Daddy, this weekend. I got 3 fan bases that are going to be feeling hard times, Daddy, after this weekend's games. Number 3, New England Patriots fans. So cocky just because you got Belichick. Get the hell out of here. They've had 1 playoff appearance since Brady left. He's not such a genius anymore. Patriot fans, you're going to be feeling hard times this weekend. The Eagles, they're going to Foxborough this weekend to kick the shit out of the Patriots. It's an 0-1 start. It's going to be a last place in the AFC East finish for New England. That's neither here nor there. We're talking about week one. Week one, New England Patriot fans going to be feeling hard times, daddy. Number 2, the Denver Bronco fans. Denver Bronco fans are definitely going to be feeling hard times, daddy, this weekend, because Bronco fans are going into their divisional rivalry game this weekend against Vegas saying, hey, we got Sean Payton now. That's obviously a big deal. And Russell Wilson is going to be fixed. We're going to learn really quick here that the Russell Wilson we saw last year, that's who he is now. Now, I don't know that he's going to get benched at any point in the season. I think Sean Payton is going to do his damnedest to show everybody, hey, Nathaniel Hackett was the problem. I'm a genius. I could fix Russell Wilson. But this weekend, the Broncos, they're going to get beat down, and Russell Wilson is not going to look like a starting quarterback. Denver Bronco fans, this weekend, hard times, daddy, for you. And number 1, the third team that's fan base is going to be feeling hard times this weekend. The New York Jets fan. I mean, this fan base, can you not even win a playoff game? Can you appear in a playoff game once a decade before you start talking about how your defense is going to be historical and start talking about winning the Super Bowl? Get the hell out of here. This team is going to, they're going to be a massive disappointment this year for Jet fans. I think there are people like me who see it for what it is, and that's going to be setting up for this team to bomb. I don't see it. I don't think we're going to get Aaron Rodgers from a few years ago. I think he's on the decline, and I think Jets are going to jet. So this weekend, going into Monday Night Football, for everybody to see, I think Buffalo is going to punch them in the mouth. New York Jet fans this weekend, they're going to be feeling hard times, daddy. And that right there, of course, is another edition of Good Times and Hard Times.